I remember when I was a level 7 and I had a double back dismount on bars. Man, just thinking about it is kind of crazy. But I had a double back dismount on bars, and one day I felt like I just kind of forgot how to do the skill. Like I literally was, taking my turn, going for the giants, getting ready to set up for my dismount, and all of a sudden it was like, when do I let go of the bar? This is literally the thought that went through my head. When do I let go of the bar? And so by the time I finished that sentence, it was too late. So I pulled in and I hit my head on the bar. So literally all you heard was that was my head, and this is my body hitting the floor. So freaked myself out. It honestly didn't hurt that bad. It was more so scary, right? So me naturally, I don't know why, when I hurt myself I get angry. So naturally I get upset, and because I knew something was going to happen, I had to stop processing in my head, but I wasn't able to process it fast enough to react to it. So I was pissed about that. Nobody else knew why I was mad. But in my own head, I'm thinking, you didn't react fast enough. You were supposed to realize when you're supposed to let go of the bar so you can actually let go of the bar. And so I'm having this internal dialogue in my head, and I just hear a coach say, "Are you okay?" And I'm mad, right? In my head. So I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. I just hit my head on the bar. Would you be okay?" And long story short, he was just trying to be nice, and I was just upset. I was scared, and I had a meet the next weekend. So I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? Like, I don't want to do this dismount because I just cracked my head on the bar. And right before that happened, I forgot how to do it. So have you ever walked up the stairs and then you you're going on the last stair, right? And you forget that there's a stair there, or you didn't know that there was another stair there, and you have a mini heart attack when you're trying to step because you feel like you kind of forgot how to walk upstairs for a half second. And that's literally what happened to me when I was doing my skill. I forgot how to do it for a half a second. The only difference is with gymnastics, there's a very high level of, there's a higher level of danger involved when you forget how to do something, right? So when you forget how to walk up the stair for a half a second, it's not like next time you go up the stairs, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I can't walk up these stairs anymore. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to walk up these stairs. And you just stay in the basement. That doesn't happen, right? But in gymnastics, that's exactly what happens. So for me, the next time I tried to do that skill, which I believe was that day, because I had a meet that weekend, I just was not going to go. I jumped to the bar, and I did my cast, I did my giants, and I was like, I'm not letting go of this bar because I don't know how. I don't know how. And it was really crazy because it felt like something was blocking me from being able to do what I was supposed to do and do what I had been doing for years, which was letting go and doing a double back. I knew how to do the skill. I competed it all year. And at this point, it's almost towards state. And so I should be, I should know and have that confidence in myself that I can let go and I can do a really good dismount. But for some reason, I was blocking and I just couldn't do it. So fast forward. I go to college, and before I even go to college, I meet my coach, and I sign my papers and I get my scholarship, and I'm excited, and I'm talking to my new coach before I actually go to school, and he's like, "So what's your dismount now?" Because he knew what happened. It had happened again a week later, mind you, but that's another story. So he said, "So what's your dismount?" And I tell him, "A toe front." Because in my head, I'm not ever doing a double back again. No, I don't know how to do the skill. I cracked my head on the bar. It's not happening. So I'm like, I'm doing a toe front. He's like, "No, you're doing a double layout." I'm like, "I'm doing a who?" He said, you're doing a double layout. I said, "Peter, I'm not letting go of the bar backwards again." And he goes, "You're doing a double layout. That's your dismount now." And I say, "Okay." So I didn't take him seriously. Fast forwarding a little bit and just kind of pausing right there. So what just happened? Why am I telling you this story? And why do you really want to know the end of the story, right? I'm telling you this story because confidence plays a huge part in your success, not only as a gymnast, not only as an athlete, as a person, as a functioning person. So let's think about it like this. When I let go of the bar too late and I hit my head, the reason why that happened was because for half a second, I lost confidence in myself that I knew how to do that skill, because I questioned myself in my head, and questioning myself in my head for that short amount of time caused me to let go of the bar late and crack my head. Now, if I would have said, in my head, let go, you know how to do this, and kind of told myself, walk myself through it, I probably would have been okay. But in that moment, I had that small little window of doubt. And in that little window of doubt, an obstacle came up. And in that obstacle, I was not able to, quickly execute the correct skill, the correct form, executing the skill correctly in general. I wasn't able to do that. So with that being said, how important is it for you to trust yourself in every moment? In every moment. If you have a moment of doubt and that little bitty window was there, you are just letting in all of these different opportunities for you to, make these mistakes, for you to crash and hurt yourself. There's so many things that your confidence controls. And if I was aware that, trusting myself and knowing I knew how to do the skill and constantly having positive and directional internal thoughts and, kind of telling myself and guiding myself through that process, if I was able to do that and I knew in that moment that that was what was going to get me to do the skill correctly, of course I would have done it, and if I would have had someone to coach me on that and kind of tell me and walk me through that process, like, Chantel, you need to be able to, trust that you can do the skill. And if I had someone, because there were times before that where it was kind of signs like, this doesn't feel right, but I would ignore them and continue to doubt myself until the point where I hit my head. So if there was someone in there to block that from happening and really help me keep that confidence in, then that wouldn't have happened. But in the same breath, and this is where the end of my story comes in the same breath, failure, I don't like to call it failures. I like to call them they're pathways. These are just different pathways that, you decide to take. Whether it's something that, is desirable or is something that you didn't necessarily want to happen. Now, going back to my story, this was a pathway for me, because had I continued to do that skill and continue to doubt myself and continue to, have this internal dialogue that was not positive, that was not helping me execute the skill correctly, I may have gotten to a later point where I continued to doubt myself and went to college and did that double layout and really did something that could hurt me, that really put me in danger, So back to my story. I go to college, and little do I know, my coach is serious. I'm going to learn double layout. How do I go from cracking my head on the bar on a double back to a consistent double layout? How? If you've ever been through a fearful situation and you don't know what to do next, you just decide to, avoid that situation because you don't want to be scared, you don't want to hurt yourself again. You understand where I'm coming from when someone tells you you're actually going to do that skill, but you're going to do a harder one. That's the same exact thing, but it's much harder. You're going to do it. Most likely you would react the same way I did. No, I'm not. But long story short, and I'll get into this in our next video, but long story short, I wind up doing the double layout. And not only do I wind up doing the double layout, but I wind up doing the double layout consistently for 4 years. Scoring 9.8s on bar, scoring 9.75, 9.8, no lower, as an average, all 4 years of my college career because of that double layout. And the moral of the story is, and I don't even like using that word. Instead of saying that, I want to say the moral of the story is, Look at everything that occurs to you in your sport. Look at that as a pathway to creating success. I could have looked at me hitting my head on the bar as a failure, and I'm never going to do that skill again. And for a while, for a whole year, that was the case. But I was able to shift my thoughts and think of it as a pathway. This is just something, this is a challenge that I can focus on to overcome. And how fun is it to look back and say, man, that was tough. Like, that was really hard, but I was successful. That is when you really when you really push yourself, that is when the champion in you is exposed. And the more you really like change the way you see these failures and you look at them as pathways, the more that champion is exposed. The more you consistently perform, the more you enjoy a challenge, the more you enjoy pushing yourself, the more you enjoy those things that happen and it's hard, but when you push through them and you succeed after that, it's like, yes, I'm so happy that happened. The moral of the story: trust yourself. Reframe the way you see failures. They're not failures, they're pathways. And really let that soak in. They're pathways. And so I know as a gymnast or as an athlete, everybody has a story like this. So I challenge you to think about your story. What is your story? What is blocking you? What is, what's that fear that you have that's stopping you from being successful, that you're avoiding? Think about that. Until next time, follow me on Instagram, Focus by Chantel Sarita. Follow me or like my Facebook page, Focus by Chantel Sarita. It may be hashtag or / choreography by Chantel Sarita. That may be the hyperlink, but I'll put everything in the description box. If you like this video, thumbs up, and please subscribe. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys all have a super awesome Focus day. Thank you.